Elise Pickett here with the Urban Harvest, and today we are going to talk about why your leafy greens are going to flower and seed. So it is the end of March, beginning of April here in Florida, and that means spring has way sprung. The temperatures have been climbing pretty steadily, and we just cooled off a couple of days ago, but it's not nearly enough to tell our leafy greens that it's still winter time. So what happens with a lot of the greens that we traditionally plant in the garden, all of your lettuces, your tatsoi, some of your arugula, that kind of thing, they're all cool weather crops. So when the temperatures start to climb in spring, it's basically telling the plant that it's time to make babies. So instead of devoting the energy that it was doing in the beginning towards its leaves, the part that we like to eat, it begins to dedicate all of its energy towards the flowers to make seeds to reproduce, which of course is the mission of all living creatures. So right now I have tatsoi and arugula that have both gone to seed. So the tatsoi is the yellow flowers here. You can see the seed pods forming down the length of the stem. And then the arugula over here with the real pretty white flower and the brown veins. In the meantime, before I'm ready to pull these out of the garden, these flowers make a wonderful addition to salads. They're edible and they're very delicious. They don't add a ton of flavor, but they really do make your salad look so much prettier. You can just pick the blooms right off the plants and eat them. So unlike arugula flowers where you eat the petals and what you would imagine as the fully formed flower, on tatsoi, you're actually looking to eat the green, tightly formed, unopened flower. Once it's opened up to the yellow blooms, they're not as tasty. You can still eat them. They won't make you sick or hurt you or anything like that. But this is the one that you really want to look for if you want to add some flowers or edibles into your salads. So signs to look for in your leafy greens that they're about to go to seed and flower are a change in the leaf shape and color oftentimes. Tatsoi normally looks like this when it's in a good healthy state, when it hasn't gone to seed or started to bolt. You can see on the inside there's no flowers or different leaves. They all look the same. They might be a little smaller, but they still look just like the full-grown version. You can see them just growing bigger and growing outwards. This plant has not yet set seed. Now if we shift over here, you can see that this is also a tatsoi plant. On the outside you can see the spade-shaped leaves just like normal, but then when you look at the inside, you see completely different leaf shape. It's got that long, it's not quite as glossy. The leaves look completely different. And then if you look all the way to the center, you can actually see the start of the seed head. So this indicates to you that the plant is about to go to seed. I usually try to snag as many leaves off of it as I can while they're still nice and tender, because once the plant starts devoting its energy into the flowers, the vegetation is going to completely die off and oftentimes get a lot more bitter and not taste as good. So now that things have started to warm up, clearly a lot of the beds have gone to seed. There's a few things you can do about that, one of which is let them go. It's drawing in beautiful pollinators. All of the bugs that are really important and good for the garden get drawn in, and it's a great way to attract them in to pollinate some of your other crops that you do want flowers on, say tomatoes or something along those lines, squash. So it's a great thing to leave in the garden for a while, but eventually your flowers will turn into seed pods. And when that happens, they will self-seed very readily. The first year I planted arugula, the flowers are edible. And so I said, oh great, this is awesome. I'll leave them in the garden. The pollinators love it. I get to eat the flowers. It'll be all good. I soon had an entire bed of arugula. Lettuces will self-seed and reseed themselves quite readily. So unless you're prepared to let the entire bed go that direction, once you start seeing the seed pods, it's probably time to pull them out. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a thumbs up below, and while you're down there, hit the subscribe button with the little bell next to it so you get alerted every time a new video comes out here on YouTube. Happy gardening!